Good evening. This is Politically Correct. I am Maya Hayakawa. He's worth more than $7 million and is only 28 years old. He's been featured in Forbes' list of Africa's most promising young entrepreneurs. He's been named one of Kenya's top 40 under 40 men by the Business Daily. He's the founder and CEO of Society Stores and Tria Group. Need I say more? Ladies and gentlemen, I am talking about Trushar Khetia. He joins me in studio today to discuss investment potentials in Kenya. Welcome to the show, Trushar.
Thank you, Maya.
First of all, I just got to say that you are definitely a hard man to pin down.
How come? Why do you say that?
This must be about maybe the third time that I've tried to get you in studio, so I want to say thank you so much for finding some time to be on the show.
I also appreciate the fact that you took time out from all the people you could pick to pick me.
Oh, that's awesome. So, how are you today?
Good.
How have you been?
Just been busy, traveling around, visiting a few of the towns up country, and everything's looking quite promising actually.
So I know, obviously, in your experience, having invested a lot in different, businesses, and you being successful in entrepreneurship. In your opinion, why aren't foreign investors investing in Kenya?
Okay, so I have a different opinion to that. Okay, so I think it's more of they've been holding back the investment. It's like they've wanted to for a very long time, and I think maybe I'm specifically referring to some of the American companies, but just because of these perceptions of security. Of course, we know we've had our own issues, but it's obviously been blown out of proportion by the Western media, as always. And I think because of that, some of the investments that would have come much sooner have delayed. But having said that, why I'm saying I'm not in total agreement with that is because if you look recently at some of especially the retail industry. So in the recent 6 months, 2 gigantic corporations have come into the retail industry. Game opened recently in Garden City, and they're part of the Walmart group, so that's the biggest retailer in the world. Carrefour is coming as well. They're in the process of about opening up some stores, and they're the second biggest retailer. So one is a French multinational company, one is part of a American company. So clearly there are signs. Let's look at food retailing. Domino's is growing all over the place. KFC's outlets are all over the place, and they've been able to grow. Subways all over the place. It's kind of just been very, very recent if you think about it. So there is promise of, I think, more to come. I think it's just the fact that it's been delayed much, much later than it should have.
All right. Well, so you've shown that definitely foreign investors have the interest, at least, in investing, in East Africa, Kenya more specifically. Then if there is such opportunities for investments, why are our Kenyans moving out of the country and, taking all their business skills over there?
To me, that's a total surprise because, seriously, I think we live in a beautiful country with loads and loads of potential. The room to grow is here, as long as you find your niche. As I said, I've got businesses around East Africa, but I would not choose to go anywhere else. This is where home is. And for people who think the grass is greener on the other side, they should start watering their own garden. That's the difference, because we've got a beautiful place where you've got fertile soil. It's what you do with it. I think maybe a lot of these guys might be finding it difficult to do business, and there are challenges in every single country. As I said, I've got my Tria as a business is also in Tanzania. In fact, Tanzania is even a harder market to actually work with because it's got that level of being very much informal and laid back. It's not as quick as we are in Kenya. But these are the different challenges. So I think jumping ship is not the answer. So to be honest with you, this is the place to be. It is, and it's going to be for the next 50 odd years.
And for you, did you always think that you would set up your business here, or as much as you did do your foreign studies?
Absolutely. Exactly, as I said, I spent about 7 years in the UK, so about 3 years studying and about 4 years working. And for me, all that was part of the practical learning experience of what it takes to be in a Western corporate, how they work, how the structures are, and then bring back the learnings into Kenya. So the plan was always to come back because this is where home is, and not even that. This is where the opportunity lies to be able to find your room to grow. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I as I say, none of this would have happened if I didn't come back.
So on one hand, you talked about foreign investors having the interest of investing in Kenya, but then what about the role of the government? Does the government make it easy for investors to invest here?
I assume you're talking about both whether local or foreign investors, right? I think there needs to be a much more active role and presence. There's a lot of talk. I see very little action. I think for me, one of the biggest things that they need to just come out and do is just implement, and I'm talking about just say any startup entrepreneurs, okay? And by investors, I'm also referring to entrepreneurs who want to be able to start up their businesses. The government needs to come out and actually have some simple policies in place to make it simple, as in terms of to make it easy for them to start their business. And to me, the three things they can do is, one, first of all, just make it easy in terms of quick and easy to register the businesses, set up, get all the licenses, and officially have a company, because it takes, generally the process has taken long. You have to get this license and that license, and it ends up being such a costly affair. You have to commend our neighbors like Rwanda, who do everything within a week. You've got all your licenses, everything. So those simple things support. Second thing is, fine, if we know that these are businesses that are new and they're entrepreneurial businesses, so government should be able to support and say, look, we know you're starting out. Here's a tax break for the next 2 or 3 years. Then after 3 years, you can start paying your taxes, because it means you're giving that person room to grow. And the last thing is about being able to also set some funds aside very clearly that says, okay, if your business is showing the potential, then we've got this funding that's backed up by the government. And I know we've got all these youth funds, the Wezo funds. Now, we need to see some fantastic projects and entrepreneurs and coming out from that. So I'm not saying they're not doing anything. They are, but it's been a lot of talk. It needs to translate into real action. That is felt on the ground. Where the funds reach to the people that it's supposed to.
And you just mentioned the Uwezo and all the funds. Do you think it's working?
I think that's a very interesting question, because whenever it comes to about government funding, there's always this issue of, is it going to the right places? Is it going to the right projects? There's always this question of misappropriation of funds, without a doubt. I think if that's what I'm saying, it's hard for me to know whether that's working or not, because I haven't met anyone I've interacted with who's told me that they've actually been able to grow their business, or the business has come up because of this fund. So I would love to meet someone like that. What I think is the fact that there needs to be some guidelines and some policies, and maybe they should do it from a public-private partnership, because there's something about private businesses or private business owners or investors. They'll always be much more efficient, to be honest with you, in terms of how the funds are utilized. So if maybe the government would look to do something in conjunction with a group of investors, private investors, whereby private people put in half, the government puts in half, and then from there they can grow and support the businesses, I think that would make a much better difference. I think that would make a much bigger difference.
And now, in terms of investments, where do we go wrong?
I think people need to do a lot more research. Okay, don't just follow the trend in terms of just because everyone is into, say, poultry, for example, just because it's a trend and it's worked out for 1 or 2, it doesn't mean it will necessarily work out for you. So what's important here is before you choose to invest in any business, start anything, ask yourself, are you really passionate about it? Do you have a unique selling point about your business? Do you have the resources in place? And resources, I don't even mean the finances, but do you have the people with you? Or are you capable enough of being able to handle this? So I think sometimes people go rushing heads like really quickly into certain investments without taking the time to do research, without planning. As I said, both my companies, Trushar took 6 months from inception to actually it being like live with a team and everything. Society, the retail business, took a year. That year was the time to do your background research, your analysis. What's the competition like? If I come in, what's going to be my strength? How am I going to be different from everyone else? So I think it's really important that before you choose to commit, take a step back, look at the bigger picture, see how you'll enter, not only the start of the journey, but you got to know the end game. So a lot of times what happens is people get into investment decisions not already having anticipated or looked at what is the end game plan, how far do you want to go. So I think it's really important to do your due diligence on yourself, on the business that you want to do, and what kind of industry or market you want to be able to enter.
I mean, I think that that's really incredible that for you, it took you a year, 6 months to be able to break even. I've known people who've tried for 5, 6, 7 years, and are still on, stage 1.
Yeah.
So then what's your secret to success?
To be honest with you, like as I said, most of my businesses have been only 2 years. So to me, I still ask myself, am I successful? And it's still debatable.
Wow.
Just because it's got...
I find that so incredible. The person that is, top 40s, under 40s, one of the most promising African, entrepreneurs. Yeah. I mean, how is that even possible that you feel that, are you really that successful?
It's as I said, I still call my businesses as babies.
Really?
Yeah. They, as much as they're growing so quickly and they're huge in their own way, I know where I want to go or where I want to reach. In comparison to that, this is still a baby. So to me, success will be once, I reach that level. Yeah. And part of the success is the entire journey, right? The entire journey that it takes from the startup phase to where we're going to be. Because in October, the retail business hits 1 year. Trushar is already 2.5. Still, that's nothing to me. So I think, to me, it's been a lot to do with the passion that I have for the businesses. It gets me through some of the tough days because it's not easy. So when you have some tough days, you have to go back and say, why did I do this in the first place? And it gives you back to saying, no, I love the retail business. I love the supermarket business. I love media and advertising. And that's, first of all, what brings you back into focus. Even the world's biggest business people, everyone, like any human beings, goes through their ups and downs in life, in every way. But when you're down, what will keep you going to come back out of that cycle is, as I said, your love and passion for that business. So I think that's what keeps driving me. And knowing that I still have a long way to go with unfulfilled potential. Number 2 would be the people and the team that I have. In all my businesses, I have to attribute my success not just to my individualism, but it's also to do with the support and background in terms of that I have for both organizations, the kind of teams that I've put in place. As I say, that's what is enabling me to sit here with you while the work is still going on as normal. So, as I said, one person cannot say that, you can't be a one-man band. And for me, a big part of this has been to do with the support that I've got from my people, my team. And I think that makes a big difference.
And one last question before we go for our break. The question that I have for you, I'm sure that you have several people that come up to you and say, Trushar, I'd like you to invest in my business. Can you invest in my business idea? Yeah. And do they do that?
Yeah, you know what, the moment they see a young successful entrepreneur, and I can't fault that. The first assumption they have is, oh, he's got a lot of money, so he's just going to invest in my business.
So what do you look for then when someone comes up to you and says, you know what, I have a business proposal for you, I'd like you to invest in my idea. What do you look for that really helps you make that decision between, okay, you know what, I'll invest in your idea versus, you know, I won't? Because I've seen lots of young entrepreneurs are always looking for, you know, investors, and they have that challenge.
I think in my case, I first look at that person. Do I feel that he has that integrity? Is he showing a passion for his business? Does he look like someone I can to me, trust is so fundamental, right? This is like a marriage. So before I get before I get into work with anyone, I need to be able to know that I'll be with this person for at least 5-10 years, the way I look at it on a minimum level. Is this someone that I can grow and grow with? Are they willing to be open to listen, to take ideas? Do I see elements of drive and ambition in them, or are they just looking for an easy way out? You know, whereby they just think, oh yeah, you know what, you just gotta dish out money. And as I said, from the hundreds, say in 100 odd proposals that come through, only like one stands out. But there are a lot of interesting ideas out there. I think we've got a big, I think there's a big revolution coming through, you can see, of this really young 18 to 24, 25-year-olds that are doing some amazing things. And you can see that some of these companies could go on to do the next big thing, especially a lot of guys are focusing on tech and mobile and IT, and that's the right sector to be in, because that's going to continue to grow. And there's so much innovation that's happening. You're just amazed that guys are coming up with certain kind of apps and softwares and technologies locally within Kenya. So in my case, what ends up happening, as I said, is that person has to be credible enough, you know, for you to be able to trust that you're putting your money with them. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Trushar. We need to take a quick break, but when we come back, more with Trushar Khetia as we explore some of the investment potentials that we have here in our beloved country, Kenya. Stay tuned here on TVC.